I mean, wicked can just be more than just a word, a descriptor word. Like it can be an
An
actual
adjective.
noun.
Barding. Ah.
These
I don't know
things.
any of these things besides
How
Bree's
do you
hockey
how do you
journey.
We got our first hater the other day.
shout out to my dad?
That made me mad. Now I'm triggered.
Oh, and god damn it. What a pro wants. What a pro wants. Folks, after a long summer, it felt like anyways, even though it was probably one of the shorter summers in NHL history, because it just feels like they keep pushing the cup further and further back. I guess except for the COVID bubble, which was kind of weird, because that was in like September. But we are now on the cusp of the regular season. By the time this episode is released, games will have been played. So we are very much excited for finally getting to see some regular season action. We're recording on Wednesday, the 2nd. So in 2 days, the Sabres and the Devils will be facing off. It's like at 1 p.m. though, which is great. 11 a.m. for you. So I don't know how many people are going to be able to tune in. I saw like the Sabres tweeted something about, here's like a request form to send into school and work or whatever. That's not important. Sorry, I can't make it. I have to watch.
My hockey doctor's note.
Exactly. Yeah. I have prior obligations that I've already committed to, so there's nothing I can do. I don't know if my office will accept that one somehow. But if not, then we'll just have to watch games on Sunday. I think there's a game on, I think it's Sunday and then Monday.
And Tuesday's the big day.
Yeah, big day.
Triple header.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. We're so close. But we've had preseason for a little bit now, which has been wild, kind of. Like, I've never seen this much buzz about the preseason, obviously, with some of the rough stuff that's been going on, which we'll kind of get into. But the Bruins and Golden Knights have played a couple more games since we last were here. And now, at least for the Bruins, we know that Korpisalo is going to be the starter. So,
it could still be Busty.
Guess so. Well, I think, didn't Montgomery say that he was naming Korpisalo the starter going into the start of the season?
He just said that Swayman will not be the starter.
Oh, okay. I thought he had specifically said something about Eunice, but maybe not.
Maybe he said it, but I don't know if it's like confirmed, but like it's basically confirmed.
Yeah. They did pick up Yuri Patera off waivers today as well.
Right.
So little insurance there.
Just insurance, or if it's like they haven't liked what they've seen from Bussy, but either way, it's like just grabbing someone off waivers doesn't hurt.
Yeah. But I actually haven't actually watched a ton of preseason. I've just been busy with other stuff and haven't really had as much opportunity as I would normally like.
Me too. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know we're gonna do the Bruins preview today, and like as far as prospects, like I don't have much more of an opinion from when we talked about them last. Like with Liesel, for example. Like I know they're gonna have a spot open on the second line, and it was like kind of his to lose, and I don't know if he's lost it, but like I haven't heard much either way about how his play has been.
I think he didn't make the final roster. Same with Merkulov. So, yeah, expectation is play in Providence, and I think now, at least for Liesel, he doesn't need to pass through waivers in order to be sent down. So obviously that's a huge benefit for the Bruins, and they kind of want to take advantage of that if they don't think he's like absolutely ready, which it sounds like he isn't. So yeah, good opportunity to have him be in Providence and potentially get a call up if they need him. That's like a good spot for the team to be. Maybe not necessarily for Liesel, like if you really thinks that he's NHL ready, but it's not really up to you.
Right. Yeah, I know he's like I think he only scored one goal that I saw, like a power play goal. But it doesn't hurt to send him down, and you don't need him opening night. But I'm sure we'll see him this year, and probably Merkulov too.
Yeah, I would think so. So that's yeah. I mean, it'll pretty much just be like guys that have already played regularly in the NHL, at least for the starting roster right now, for the Bruins at
Yeah.
least, and I think pretty similarly for Vegas. Um, we'll see if Brisson gets in, or maybe some of these other guys. Probably not Fleming. There's just been a couple names sort of floating around, but I think it's mostly going to be the established vets at least to start. Maybe Korzak gets in over White Cloud. I know that's been talked about a lot. Or they just keep him as a seventh defenseman. Not really sure, but Vegas has actually done pretty well in the preseason. Again, it doesn't really indicate much typically because it's like rosters are all skewed, and so you don't really get the same level of compete that you do with the actual games. But still, it's nice to see young guys scoring and stopping pucks too. So
Sure.
it's fine.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest news
Get
with
ready.
the preseason has been all the injuries, which I mean we have a whole list here. I think the biggest would probably be the Line A one or the Doughty one, like or the Nylander one. I mean there's a list three arguably superstars, stars. I don't know, depends where you put them, but
They might not all be
um,
superstars. I think Nylander is in the super category.
yeah. But yeah, Line A knee on knee with Xhekaj and out 2 to 3 months, which just sucks. Like that's just the guy you root for, right? Line, not Jack Eye.
Yeah,
Um, and like just coming back after like leaving the player assistance program, it's like new team, just want him to get a good start, and then I mean you could tell how upset he was, like walking in the locker room and stuff. So
yeah.
that sucks. And the Canadians, right? Ryan Bacher's on the Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they lost him too.
And
Also long-ish term.
yeah, I think they're saying like March is the timeline right now for him, approximately. He had surgery performed on his left knee, so yeah, that's no good. Both dealing with knee injuries. I think at first a lot of people were expecting Line A to be out a lot longer than that. He doesn't need surgery, which is good. So
Yeah, his is
that's
just a sprain.
yeah.
So
I thought it was like really bad when it happened because it's one of those ones where the leg bends the way that it's not supposed to, and it's that's never fun. I mean, injuries are never fun, but yeah, I definitely feel for him. I'm definitely glad it's not like the whole season, but you might not play the same way on that knee when you come back. Like it's always so tough to gain full strength again.
yeah, and I mean it's a big difference just jumping in without having like the start of the season. Like right now, everyone's just kind of ramping up, and now you're going to be jumping in the middle of the season and like getting your own like cardio back up and the rehab and all that. So it's definitely puts you in a tough spot. But yeah, hoping for the best for him and everyone else that'll be coming back from injuries sustained in the preseason. I actually didn't see Doughty's the only one I didn't actually see the injury for.
I hadn't heard about it either until you had mentioned it. I guess he will undergo surgery to repair a fractured ankle. Um,
Yeah, so that's month to month. They were saying on the 32 Thoughts podcast, it's actually like better when it's a bone than like ligament as far as recovery time. Um, so
I can
I
see
mean,
that.
silver lining.
As somebody who is not a medical expert, like I just like to, I'll just go ahead and defer to the team doctors on that one.
Yeah, yeah, this
Whatever
is
you
actually
say.
against Vegas.
Oh, sorry.
Oh
That's
yeah,
tough.
he just kind of went awkward into the boards. It's like one of those where your skate slips out and like Just grabs his ankle right away. But I think the weirdest injury was the Nylander one.
I'm not sure I know what happened with that one either.
That one, I forget. Well, I don't know. One of his teammates. I don't know who's 89
Nick
on
Robertson?
Toronto.
Oh, yeah, that one. Now I remember
They
it.
were like back checking, and I guess Robertson just did like the classic thing where you push your stick to give your like the player a boost. It kind of boosted Nylander, and Nylander fell over, and then one of the Canadiens players was turning, and his leg hit Nylander in the head.
Yeah, that was like a really just unfortunate
Such a freak
situation.
accident.
Like, and there wasn't really a reason for Robertson to do that. Like, I don't even think the player that um, Nylander was trying to pursue even had the puck. Um, so it was just like, that's, you know, really just not great decision making
Yeah,
by the young guy there. And now
I'm sure it feels awful.
I know, like, um,
The comments are like, Robertson wanted to make the team by any means necessary. That's one way to create a roster
oh
spot.
no,
I know
like
he wants to be a Leaf, but damn.
that's rough. Do we have a timeline for his return?
No, I think it's concussion, but I know he's had head injuries before, so those can always be weird. 'Cause I know he was dealing with stuff in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I remember that. I know, and Matthews was dealing with some stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah, that's no good. Hopefully we get those guys back soon. There were I'm trying to think. There were a couple other notable injuries of late. Um, due to preseason stuff. Like some guys that are just out day to day.
then we also had the um, Stützle and Kachuk, so Jack guy again hit Stützle, but this one didn't look like a dirty hit. It was one of those weird ones. I mean, he kind of like he hit him from the side, and it was Stützle's own stick that hit him in the face that
Yeah,
really like the brunt of it. I mean, so he got like the maximum fine, which is like $3,000 or whatever.
he got like 17 minutes, I think. Or maybe that. No, that I
Something
think
like that.
that was
I
the
was gonna like,
Barre fight. He still got like 5 or 7 minutes, something like that, because I think he roughed up Kachuk, and then he got a 5 minute for interference.
yeah, he's
So
been making quite a name for himself this preseason because yeah, like you said, he had the fight after the Line injury, and then yeah, after hitting Stützle, then fought Kachuk, and
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really call what he did to Pare a fight because he basically just knocked him down and then beat his face senseless for like five
yeah,
seconds until the refs came in. He didn't take his glove off, if that's like
right.
any consolation. I think they gave him like an aggravator and he was done for the game.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
mean that's bad too. Like not taking your gloves off is, I think, also penalty.
yeah, probably. Um, so that, yeah, like I don't think Pare intentionally, try to get Line A hurt. It was just kind of like an unfortunate situation, and like two guys pinching in. Um, so that yeah, it. I don't know if it was completely warranted to just beat that guy senseless. I mean he was fine. He got up, but like still,
Yeah,
that was pretty rough. So yeah, Xhekaj has been quite the storyline, and just the Canadians in general, because they've got injured players and now they've got guys injuring other people in
hmm,
retaliation. Um, it's been not a fantastic preseason for them, and they're already, not really expected to be super good.
yeah.
So just adds a lot more question marks to what could have been for this year.
I guess according to this link, the injury link you sent, Macklin Celebrini's day to day.
Yeah, that's the other one that I was thinking of. Some sort of lower
Lower
body
body.
injury. He didn't. I don't think he finished the game. Um, that he got hurt, but it's probably just precautionary
Right.
if it's just day to day. But yeah, that's another young star. Askarov is out for a little bit. Shabbat and Stutzla are day to day. So Stutzla, yeah, he didn't like sustain anything super long term, which is good from that one because yeah, anything where you get struck in the head, even if it wasn't like a blow to the head or an elbow, it's still like you always are concerned about that for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I didn't hear this, but I guess Luke Hughes is out
Oh
long
yeah.
term. He's like week to week, I guess,
Mhm.
or 5 to 7 weeks, dealing with a
Yeah, I
shoulder
forgot
injury.
about that one.
Yeah,
That happened a little while ago.
yeah, I forgot about that. We're just kind of catching ourselves up with who's out because this is when, these injuries start to kind of be reminded or remind us of what's going on. Um, Kane again, Evander Kane is out long term, and he had surgery. He might not even come back this season.
Right.
We'll
Well, yeah,
see.
'cause going back to Luke Hughes, yeah, he didn't get injured in the preseason. He's just recovering slowly from his off-season surgery.
Was he? I know he got injured at some point during the season. Did he like end the season with the injury? Maybe.
Well, 'cause he
Or
got shoulder surgery. Um, let's see. Announced on September 12th that he was expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. Um, but now, yeah, he'll no longer be making his season debut.
we probably covered it. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. Lots of injuries. Well, also, I guess technically Ryan Johansson is also injured, depending who
Potentially.
you ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depending on who you ask. The NHLPA believes in Ryan, and they're filing a grievance on his behalf, which we were wondering if that was going to happen. Um, so yeah, this story continues. We'll see what this means for the Flyers and for the Predators going forward, because they have they could have the $4 million wiped away from their salary cap, which would be obviously very beneficial. So I don't know. This is going to be a progressing story. Obviously, he's not going to play to start the season because he's claiming that he's injured. Again, I'm
Right.
just saying it like that because I don't have all the facts. I don't think anybody does, but
Hmm.
that's what we know.
I forget if it was him or someone else that was like dancing at a wedding, and then some of the like media were like, "Well, I can't be hurt if he's dancing at a
Oh,
wedding."
I think it was
And,
him. It's like,
and it's like the difference between playing NHL hockey and then dancing. Like,
yeah, that's pretty silly. Like if he had two broken legs or something, like okay, but um, I don't think it was anything that severe. It was either I think it was either a hip or a shoulder thing that he was dealing with. I want to say hip. Um, so yeah, that's an ever changing story. We'll see what the resolution is on that. Um, I don't know what the timetable is for when that needs to be addressed, but I don't think the
it's just
Flyers are super concerned.
a slow going thing.
Yeah. I think it's been a little bit since we've had a situation like this, so I don't know what the precedent kind of is. Um so I guess another player personnel news. So some players are going to be are being released from their professional tryouts, and one of the notable names is Mike Hoffman was released from his PTO with the Oilers. Probably that means his last go around. Maybe another team kind of gets desperate and wants to give him a shot, even though he didn't work out. Like maybe the Oilers didn't think that he would fit, but he might be serviceable on your team. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the Oilers are definitely one of the top teams in the league. If another team that's lower in the standings, like just looking to boost their team a little bit, I mean, wouldn't hurt to just give them a go.
depends on what Hoffman wants to. Like if all he wants to do is just
Sure.
play NHL hockey, versus like if he only wants to play on a team that he can win the cup with.
Yeah, that's
Different
fair.
story. Um, so yeah, we'll see that with some other pending veterans, pending free agents. What their stories will be. Still no PTO for Phil Kessel, but I think after
Mm.
not signing anywhere last year, I think it would be pretty unlikely that he comes back.
He's just waiting for Major League Hockey.
There you go. That's smart.
Yeah.
Although that's been delayed,
Mm-hmm.
apparently.
It's
Um,
definitely been delayed, but apparently for only a year.
yeah, right. That's the statement as of right now.
Next year for sure.
Definitely. Since we've already drafted all these players.
Yeah. I know we kind of touched on this already, but Dahlin was officially named the captain of the Sabres. Ryan Sandroni broke the news
Thank
weeks
you,
ago.
Insider Sandroni.
Yeah.
Makes sense
Um,
though. I think he's the longest tenured guy on the team now.
and
Um,
one of your best players.
yeah, best player, number one draft pick, leader already. Like even though he's still pretty young, so I think that makes the most sense. I don't know if there was a better guy you could have picked. Like Skinner's gone, Gergensons is gone. Maybe you could do Alex Tuck. I think he's wearing the one of the alternates this year. Um, which I think I had said that they weren't gonna have three, but it sounds like they're gonna have four alternates. I think they said. Um, there's, um, yeah. So we'll. I think Dahlin was the best choice. Um,
Agreed.
so I think there's only Seattle and Utah are the only teams left that don't have a captain. Which it's been a little while since we've had that few teams um, captainless. It seems like the last 2 or 3 years has been at least like 7 or 8 teams that haven't had one because they keep trading them.
Sure.
And
I still think like you could give Keller it on Utah, but I mean, I guess
I
it
would
also
agree.
depends like if he wants to stay there long term and things like that. I guess you don't want to give it to him if he wants out or anything. But I know there was that whole talk back in Arizona
With his dad,
with his dad, and yeah, that whole fiasco. So who knows?
I think just having a stable home changes the equation a lot, where he can focus on playing hockey now. Um,
Hmm.
so I would think, especially because he's never played here, besides preseason, like that, he'll at least want to stick around for the full year. I mean, I don't,
Yeah,
I don't think it would be a bad choice, um, unless like things really fall off the wagon, but the wheels do. That is. But I don't know. I don't expect that. Obviously, I have them in my playoff bracket. I said I'm the only one out of our group that has predicted that. But we'll see if
hmm
they name a captain, and I think Seattle will as well. It sounds like it's going to be maybe one of the defensemen that's been around for the whole time, either Dunn or Larson, maybe. Um, or they could like give it to Beniers or wait like another year. I don't know. I think
I think
sometimes with
Beniers
an
wouldn't be a bad choice.
yeah, I don't think it would. He's kind of the face of the franchise, and I think it might come down to what Dan Bilesma, the new head coach, wants to do. Because usually when the head coaches come in, they change things up a little bit with personnel, and then if they feel like there is a clear candidate out of training camp, they might just go ahead and do it. But nobody named right now, so that's it probably for a while. Maybe before the season starts, they would name somebody, but it's getting pretty close. Or they just name somebody in season. That's definitely happening before. So
Hmm And going back to Utah, you had this link to the tweet from the official hockey club account about their concession prices for this year. And again, I saw the prices like for all of them, and it says available at all home games this year. They have fan-friendly concessions. Dasani water bottle for $2, box of popcorn for 3, nachos for 3, hot dogs for 3, and Far's ice cream for $3. I knew I
Oh,
liked this Ryan Smith guy.
that's such a huge win, honestly.
Yeah. Like that
That
could honestly just get you more ticket sales. Just that, like that easy.
yeah, I saw somebody mention it how like the pricing of food can definitely like lose you families that might want to go to the game, or like they eat before the game so they don't have to deal with the exorbitant prices at the stadium. Like
Hmm.
it totally makes a difference. So that's really really good on them. We'll see if other teams follow suit. Like Andlauer had been suggesting he wants prices to be a little more affordable for everybody. Um, we'll see if he sticks with that. Maybe once the new arena comes. And I also saw for Utah that they will be having an option for the city, like a food representing the city of the away team at every game,
Ooh,
which is like
that's fun.
that's really cool too. I don't know what necessarily they're gonna pick for every place, but like, is it gonna be like, oh, both New
Philly's
York
easy.
teams gets pizza, and yeah, like some of them are more obvious. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
cheesesteaks makes a
Yeah, it's
lot
like,
of
oh,
sense.
Detroit, pizza. Chicago, pizza. Boston, pizza. New
Yeah,
York,
but
pizza.
wait a minute, I'm starting to get a trend here. Probably do some sort of fish for Seattle, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe
Too
some
bad it's not
barbecue.
earlier in the off season. It would have been great content to go go through each team's concession food.
Oh, like what we think that they would be,
Yeah. St. Louis fried ravioli.
or St. Louis style baby back ribs. I don't know what
We
would
had
be.
barbecue for Nashville. We're on a roll here.
Yeah, Dallas probably have some sort of barbecue too.
We used to like catfish for Nashville.
Yeah, I
Squid for
get
Detroit.
squid. Yeah, like, oh, I didn't know Detroit was known for their calamari.
Yeah.
Like, normally we don't actually cook it. Uh,
Yeah.
we just chuck it. But no, that's really fun, and obviously a little bit of an incentive for away teams to travel and like try out their own food, I guess, but and obviously see the game. But
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like if you live in one of those cities, you're not going to travel to get the concession version of it.
probably not. But it's a nice little bonus.
Yeah, if you're going anyway, it's like, yes, my staple food.
My comfort food. Thank you, Utah Hockey Club.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty promising. Very happy to see that. Usually prices are reported the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I mean, like alcohol is probably still going to be the same price everywhere. Well, that's maybe. Well, in Utah, I know they sell like lower percent
Do they
alcohol
really?
versions. Yeah,
I
like
hadn't
there's like
heard that.
they have like weird alcohol laws in Utah.
Hmm.
Like all the like main beers and stuff. There's like a Utah version, which is a lower percent. I don't know if
I
it's just in grocery stores or if you get the normal ones in like liquor stores. I don't know exactly how it works, but
You
I
don't
just
live
know that's
there.
the thing. I don't live there. I've been over the border just briefly, but never been really to any city in Utah.
Never lived there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Nah, I that's the first I've ever heard of that. So, um, yeah, I guess they might do that, or maybe they'll offer both. I don't know what the laws uh are structured like if it's a requirement or what. Excuse me. But that's fun. Speaking
Yeah.
of some other little fun tidbits, Jeremy Brodeur, son of Marty Brodeur, and he played a decent bit for the Adirondack Thunder this year, so I got to watch him in net. He made a start in the preseason for the Devils, which was pretty cool. Um, I'm sure a lot of Devils fans were happy about that, even though I still don't think he's an NHL goalie. I think he's probably best in the ECHL or the AHL. But it's
Hmm.
still fun. Like, give him an opportunity, check him out.
Good fan service too.
Oh yeah, that'll get people buzzing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Broder's son. Oh, what's happening with him? Yada yada yada. So that's cool, and as somebody who's watched him, I'm like, it's nice to see those guys get a shot even at preseason. It's so cool, and like there was a nice little photo comparing his dad in that and then him, and I was like, okay, yep, you got me. That's pretty fun. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And did you see the Flurry joining the on ice crew, like shoveling the snow?
No.
This was during one of the preseason games that he wasn't playing in, so he he put on a little disguise, and then he was shoveling, and he was kind of chirping the boys a little bit on the bench. He was like, "Oh, let's get working out here," or something like that, and it took him a couple passes before they realized that it was him.
Nice.
That's
I'll
pretty fun.
look at him. Yeah, I wouldn't have recognized him.
Yeah, me either. They always look so different when they don't have their pads on too.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing goalies without their big shells on,
Yeah.
like in the locker room or just in the press conferences. It's like, oh, I forgot, you're a regular person.
I remember watching the All-Star game. Like, who's that guy? I'm like, that's Swayman.
Oh yeah, I was like, who's that
He's
guy?
a random dude. Cause
Who's
he's wearing
that dude in the
glasses.
glasses?
The glasses does it too. It's like you're like, oh, you can't be an athlete if you wear glasses.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, cause you don't see any of the players wear glasses except for I think
Right.
doesn't Matt Boldy have his own eyewear line? I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
one
Yeah,
of,
like Flurry in this was
or
wearing
maybe
glasses
Faber.
too.
Yeah, oh,
Yes.
he was. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, and I don't think that's his real mustache either.
It definitely wasn't. But
Yeah, that's fun.
that is excellent.
Hard to hate Flurry.
Oh, very hard. Yeah, wrapping up his final season likely. I think that's what he said. He's 40 now, so yeah, that's pretty much the end of the road for any kind of NHL player, especially a goalie. So hope he has a fun final season. Maybe they make the
Here he
playoffs.
is.
There he is. Have a great season.
Mm-hmm. The other fun little thing that I saw today on the interwebs was the greatest shootout of all time in the Finnish League is the title. This happened, I don't know, last night probably.
Oh my
Um,
god.
there were 38 attempts, and the final one was a goal. No other goals.
What? Oh my goodness.
I want to find the video of this.
They're all
But
no
like,
goal and then one
yeah,
goal. Oh,
yep.
that goalie's gotta feel just awful.
Hey, he saved, what was that, 17 of them?
Yeah,
More
that's
than
pretty good.
19?
19, 18 or 19, yeah. It's like I still only allowed one. Like, come on, you guys gotta score. Like, I can't win this
I
game
got
for
us
you.
into the 39th round or 38th round.
Yeah,
Like, I did my part.
that's insanity. Like, did they, um, did they have to go back up to the batting order? It doesn't look like
I'm,
it.
I guess not.
So this guy, this is probably his first shootout attempt ever.
Yeah, that's
Like,
also true. When you get down there, you got all the defenders going, and
yeah.
they don't have a move.
Like, okay, we brought in the healthy scratch for tonight's game to attempt the shootout.
Yeah, because I mean, if 19 people go on each team, that's almost your whole roster.
That's crazy. You
Well,
get
isn't
the
that actually your whole team? Because it would be, well, 20, 12. Yeah, I guess it was 18 starters.
was it 39 rounds, or is that including the three, like the first initial three?
I
Is
think
it?
was it 38 tries? I'm not gonna count.
Oh, 38 tries. Okay, yeah. Anyways, that's a lot of people. Like, you're almost
Yeah.
getting to the backup goalie to give it a shot. Oh my, is that legal? Now I gotta look at the rule book, because that seems like
No
something they would
way.
put in there. I mean, there's no
Yeah,
reason to do
it
it.
probably says skaters, which normally means non-goalies.
Yeah,
But what if the
probably.
goalie changed into skating pads?
I don't know if there's a rule against that.
Yeah.
Maybe like you can't change your equipment once the game is started, unless it's like a
Yeah.
replacement. Like you can't
That
just
would probably
grab
be one of the
a new
rules that they
thing.
don't put in explicitly until someone does it. Like, now we need to write this in the
Like,
rule
oh,
book.
thank you. Like, yep,
Yeah.
the Brodeur rule and
Yeah.
things like that where some guy ruins it for everybody.
Hmm.
This is why we can't have nice things, and this is why our rule book is massively long.
Right.
I was looking at the rule book for last week's episode because I was double checking that shootout thing. So it's still true, I guess, that you can't have the replacement goalie due to injury in a shootout have a warm up. So it wasn't that specific situation that they changed in the rules for this year. I think it was just coming in relief during the regular portion of the game. They can have the little warm up. So
Right.
I don't know why the shootout is a big difference, but maybe they just need it to go a little bit quicker, or like I don't know. I don't know what the rationale is, but that's the rule, and I don't expect it to change anytime soon. But who knows? But it would be fun to see if there was an explicit rule about the skaters, or if you can change equipment or what.
Try to find loopholes. Be like, did you know it's technically allowed to do this?
I know. I feel like there would be some sort of movie where like a new coach comes in and he's like, "Oh, this team's terrible," but then they like deep dive into the rules and find like ways
Like,
to game the system.
so you're saying that we can have a monkey on our team?
So you're saying we can have Walrus in that?
Yeah.
Good boy, good boy. What's his name? I can't remember.
Duncan. Yeah, I
Duncan,
remember
yeah.
Duncan. No sleepy.
No sleepies.
Best hockey commercial.
Never gets old, right, Dean?
No, never.
We'll see what ads this year will get so grating so quickly.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I'm glad that they fixed the ESPN Plus thing from last year.
Mhm.
The song probably could be use a little work, but I'll take it over what it used to be, where it looped every 15 seconds,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that
as
was
far as
brutal.
commercials go, I don't know why, but like the COVID bubble commercials, the like terrible ones are still ingrained in my head. I don't know if it's because I watched so much hockey then, or if they just played so much for whatever reason, but like there's some bad ones that like still haunt me to this day.
Like, oh God, not that one again, please.
Yeah.
See it in my sleep. Yeah, but that's part of watching a sport. I think there's probably a couple football ones that I've seen already this year. I'm like, okay, I got enough of this. But whatever. Try not to let it pierce my subconscious too much. You won't make me buy your products or get your services. You won't. Maybe you will. I don't know.
All right, so we did all of our preseason stuff. All of our games are in order and ready to start the year.
Very
We have
excited.
everyone else filled out their preseason brackets. I don't want to run through all of them, but maybe we can do like the final four for
That's
everyone.
what I was thinking. Either do the conference finalists or just the finalists. But yeah, we can do that. We'll do the
We can do the
conference
final
finals.
four.
Yeah.
Um, we'll do mine and your. Run through the ones we already talked about just real quick too. So you have the Stars versus the Golden Knights and the Devils versus the Panthers, with the Devils over the Stars in the finals. I wasn't
Chandler
sure.
approved.
I was talking to Zach, and he also has the Stars as the President's Trophy winner, but he has them winning the cup.
Ooh,
So,
break the curse.
Bree has the Preds over the Oilers. Both teams going into the conference finals on a sweep, by the way.
Which has happened semi recently, but it's very strange.
Um, and then Panthers over the Penguins in the East, with the Preds winning it all.
There you go.
And
Preds versus
then
Panthers.
I've got Oilers over Stars, Hurricanes over Panthers. Oilers is my cup winner this year. Um, Gifford also has the Stars in here. Stars over Oilers, Devils over Panthers, Stars with the winner.
So he has the same final
Um,
as me,
yeah, I'm seeing some patterns
but a
here.
different outcome.
Owen has Vegas over Colorado and the Rangers over Tampa, with the Rangers winning the cup this year. Sandroni has Dallas over Edmonton, Rangers over Florida. Rangers also winning the cup this year and added a nice little logo to his of
Nice
the
little
Rangers.
touch.
Yeah, nice touch. Uh, my dad has Oilers over the Stars, seeing a theme there, especially the West. Oilers and Stars showing up a lot.
Oh yeah,
Uh, the
me
Leafs over the
makes sense.
Rangers, and the Oilers winning the cup. Uh, Zach has Stars over Oilers, and Devils over the Bruins, with the Stars winning the cup. And finally, Zane has
Popular
Preds
final.
over the Oilers, Panthers over the Islanders, and the Preds winning.
So he has the
Might be
same.
like the most diverse.
He has the same final as Bree actually,
Okay.
which is kind of fun. And
I think
same
the
winner
Oilers
too.
are in the top four the most. Oilers or the Stars.
They're
Pretty close.
they're both in there pretty. I think it would be the
Yeah.
Stars probably, but
So
yeah, it's a lot.
definitely some clear favorites in the West.
Yeah, I think the top contenders are a lot more easy to spot out in the West compared to the East, but um,
Yeah, especially the Atlantic. Like it is always a tight race.
yeah. So I do think the Eastern Conference is a little more interesting. It feels like it has been for a while, but that I mean, there's still like interesting stories with the West. Obviously, the Predators weren't really expected to do anything last year, and then they pulled through. The Avalanche and the Knights have recently won the cup, so like doesn't doesn't necessarily mean that they can't win. It's just not always as interesting to talk about it because I feel like the contenders are a lot more well known.
Yeah, and I feel like for a while, like the juggernauts were all coming out of the East, but like it seems like it's starting to turn more towards the West for these like powerhouse teams. Stars are still up and coming. Oilers have a window that's like it's not quite closing yet, but like they have a few more years to really compete.
They're
And I
old.
know, yeah, they're old. Like the Panthers are still probably as scary as it is, probably getting better, but like I don't know. I think the West has a lot of potential.
Yeah. I guess we didn't touch on the President's Trophy winners that everybody selected either.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not as important as who's gonna win it all.
no, Bree did have the Jets as the President's Trophy winners, which I was like, hey, that would be pretty fun for them.
It would be.
But then they didn't make it past the second round. So what are you gonna do? A
I
lot of
know a team that
lot of
won the
stars.
President's Trophy and didn't make it too far. Pretty recently, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Rangers, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Actually, they made it to the conference finals, so I think I know who you're talking about.
good.
So we did get those in, and then we also established our Pass the Cup, which we're doing again this year. Just for a quick refresher for those unfamiliar. So um, we start the season. This is we did a preseason draft where we drafted. We each picked 6 teams, and then the cup is with Florida right now because they won it this past season. And then so if they win their first game, which is against Boston on Tuesday, then they will get a cup point, and the owner, who is me, because I drafted them first, will get one, and then it just kind of transfers as that team loses and so forth. So we drafted for getting the most number of cup points throughout the regular season, and then we also drafted to see which team would win the cup ultimately, the actual cup. So, Dean, how are you feeling about your team?
I like it. Um, I was debating picking Boston, but it felt like it would be a little too early, so Zach ended up with Boston. Obviously, also a Bruins fan, so at least it fell into good hands. Um,
Yeah.
but like I feel like my top three are pretty solid with Toronto, Carolina, and New Jersey. I guess we'll see with New Jersey. They could kind of go either way. But again, this is so much luck where I think last year one of us had like almost every team they picked was in the playoffs and like didn't win the thing just because you never know if your team's even going to get the cup. It's lots of luck, but that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I can be stuck in like one division or conference for a while, and it's like I don't have anybody on that like in that area. So yeah, it can be frustrating not even getting the opportunity to win it.
That's also why I wanted to pick like my first pick someone in the Atlantic with Florida because like hopefully it stays in that area. That's why I wanted to like get teams kind of on the east. So that's why those three. I'm like hopefully it stays there because it'll suck if it's right away. I don't know when Florida or Boston plays a West team, but like it just all of a sudden goes over there because most of my I don't have anyone really West. I guess the furthest is Calgary, but
Yeah, and you have
we
Minnesota
can't do
too,
too much
but
winning. Yeah.
um, I have Florida, Winnipeg, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Utah, and Chicago. So I won last year. It was a three-way tie at the end of the regular season, so it was our most contentious year yet. But hopefully, I can carry the trend on. And I had Florida on my team last year too, and so I won the whole pot, which was fun. I don't normally win. Um, Matt has a very similar team. Dallas, Nashville, Vegas. I think he had all those teams last year. Then Islanders, Sabres, and Blue Jackets. Owen with Edmonton, Colorado, Vancouver, Ottawa, which we said at the time, we're like, that's actually a decent place for him to grab them.
Yeah.
And then Pittsburgh and Montreal.
I was telling you before we started recording that so we borrowed this game from the 32 Thoughts podcast. They did it 2 years ago and then didn't do it last year, but they just released the podcast today about them doing it again. And they just drafted, and I forget who drafted Ottawa, but they picked them pretty high actually.
Really?
Yeah.
How many did they
Oh,
have?
it was Friedman because he has them in his playoffs this year.
There you go.
I was like, well, I gotta pick him, so I think he might have picked him even higher than Owen did.
Wow. Drinking the Kool-Aid. He lives in Canada, so I guess a little bit closer to the craziness.
Right, but he's also, I think, he's more of a Toronto guy.
Also true. But you get exposure to the other teams in the division pretty well.
Yeah.
And then so Zach has Bruins, Rangers, Red Wings, Kings, Blues, and Flyers, with Anaheim and San Jose being the two unclaimed teams currently on the waiver wire. So you can kind of pick them up and swap a team out if you think they have a good chance of getting the cup. But
Which team do you think has the most potential?
Out of the two waiver wire ones, you mean?
No, I mean, like, which person picked the best
Oh,
team?
okay. Which player? Yeah. Man, they're all pretty good. I do think. I think your team is pretty good because New Jersey being your third selection was pretty solid. I think Gifford has a decent team, and I think Zach has a decent team too.
I think my pick would be Zach. Because Detroit can play well and LA can step up, and like we all expect Philly to like fall off, but I don't know if I mean maybe Torrell can get a little more out of them again this year, and like as your last pick, getting them. Like again, I say there's potential. Like it could all go wrong, but and it's all luck too. So who knows?
Yeah, it really comes down to like, can you get a team on a hot streak, and they acquire the cup at some point on it? Like that's
Yeah, like,
a
I
big
think I
thing.
had Edmonton last year, and they went on that huge streak, and they didn't have the cup for any of it.
Yeah, the 16 game streak, which was like
Yeah.
second all time, or tied for
Mm-hmm.
second with that Columbus team, which were like, what?
Like you played half the league, and you couldn't get the guy with the cup somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
this is bogus, man. What are you even winning
That's
these
fun.
games for? You're just wasting it for when you get the cup.
Yeah, it makes like some random game in January actually like interesting to watch if you're like, oh, my team can get the cup.
Yeah, it helps a little bit, instead of just fantasy, which
Mm-hmm.
we're not really big on.
Yeah.
But that's fun. And then so we're also doing the hat trick challenge again this year, which is like, I don't know, our fifth or sixth season doing it, which is pretty crazy to think about. But we are looking forward to that. So that's the same five players as the Pass the Cup as well. And we've established a couple more guidelines and rules so things can run a little bit smoother this year. But looking forward to it, and I will be posing my first questions on Friday. Crazy.
Oh yeah.
Haven't thought about them yet, but
You gonna try to post
got time.
online again, or and see if there's any interest?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we could
Maybe
do that.
give it like a week or two, see if we get any answers.
Yeah,
You
we
could
could.
post on the YouTube like poll.
Yeah, I think I might do it there because the
I don't know if you
Twitter
can.
doesn't seem to gain a lot of attraction on the polls.
Yeah, I don't know if that works on YouTube, like if it's just multiple choice or how you would do that, but we can look into that.
I I think you can do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or as a poll. That would probably be the best way. But yeah, might
Yeah,
look
we'll
into
give it
that
a try.
if you guys want to participate. And so we'll see who ends up winning that one. I who was it? Was it Dean? You won last year?
Hat trick.
Oh no, Gifford won.
Gifford one.
Yeah.
Broke my three-peat, had to come to an end.
As
Yeah,
long
this is
as
our fifth year.
fifth year, okay, yeah. As long as Dean didn't win it, I guess it's fine.
It was close.
So you won. Who won it the first? Oh wait, so you won it all 3 years up until last year.
Sure did.
Damn. He's solid. He knows his stuff.
I got my Bruins hat, my Bruins pajamas, and my Bruins shorts.
And then I don't think we did an article of clothing last year. I think we just did cash,
Did
didn't we?
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably it's a little less fun. You should have buy something. You shouldn't
You
get to just keep it.
you have to use part of the proceeds
Yeah.
for a team merchandise of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add to the rules quick before the season starts.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Nah, you can do whatever you want. Your money.
If I win, I'll probably do something like that. We'll see. But I've never won before, so
Yeah, keep dreaming.
maybe I'll at least get my money back. Second place gets their money back.
Yeah, that's nice this year. I like that.
Yeah.
Hurts a little less.
Yeah, I'm sure that was tough. Especially
I've,
since
al- I've
it
always been a
went down
fan
to
of
the
the second
wire.
place money back.
You were getting really
Also,
close to winning, like at the end too,
I
weren't you?
know. Yeah, I had a hot start at the very beginning and then at the end of the year. But I've always been very streaky in hat tricks.
But it's worked.
Yeah.
Oh
All right, is
well.
it time?
I think so.
Time for the Bruins segment.
Finally.
We've been doing team previews, so we're gonna do the Bruins one. But first, we have some other things to talk about. I'm just gonna quickly touch on first Sophia Jurkovic, she was the like I don't know the by the benches person, whatever you want to call them. And then she's been in the studio for intermission lately, but she posted that for personal reasons she's gonna delay her season start, but she hopes to be back soon. So wishing her all the best there. I mean, she's been a great addition. I don't watch the intermissions a lot, but just like, she always seems to know her stuff and brings excitement. So, hoping to see her back soon.
Yep.
And then the big news is obviously the Jeremy Swayman stuff. I was telling Brendan I had to write down some notes to consolidate it because a lot has happened.
Gosh, there's so much.
So
While
much.
nothing has actually happened.
So I guess before I start, so to preface this, I'm probably gonna to make some assumptions and have some Bruins bias. But what do you expect? Um, so what we know is I've heard from a few sources that Swayman currently looking for 8 years, 9.5 million, which is the same that McAvoy's making, same that Vasilevsky makes. I know as far as like goalie comparables, Saros was kind of the one he was getting compared to, and Saros 8 years, 7.74. So I mean, 8 by 9.5 still seems pretty high. Um, That would be a
Yes,
lot. We don't really have that cap space, I don't think.
you don't have it.
Yeah, we have 8 point something, so that
Eight
would put
point
us in
like
a tough
seven.
spot. Um, and then there was a whole press conference with Neely, Sweeney, Montgomery, um, Jacobs, like everyone. And Cam Neely came out and said that basically he would have 64 million reasons to want to play like game one or whatever. This is assumption number one that we're assuming that's a $64 million contract, which would be 8 by 8 probably. Um,
Yeah,
which again, it's like I think that's fair. If anything, it might be a little high. Because again, like goalies are weird. Swayman hasn't played like a full workload for a year. He's been like a 1A, 1B. Um, just 8 years for a goalie is scary.
oh
Especially
yeah,
with when it hasn't played a ton. Um, but like if you're offering that, I think it's fair. Like we believe in you. We want you here long term. Um, and then Lewis Gross is who's Swayman's agent basically came out and said that uh, that's not true. Like 64 million was never on the table. Like they never and never. First time he's hearing that number in his negotiations. Um, and I don't know if you know that like Lewis Gross is also Nylander's uh, agent, and this was a whole thing where uh, like Gross wasn't honest with Nylander. Apparently, again, this is more assumptions.
yeah.
Um,
No, I've heard
but
this.
because Nylander was holding out, and eventually the deal had to get done by Dubas calling Nylander and having like a man-to-man conversation. Um, so right now you're like, well, is Lewis Gross lying? Is Neely lying? But like, what would be the benefit of Cam Neely saying that the $64 million was out there, even if they hadn't offered that? Because if you're lying, like that just immediately torpedoes any contract getting done with
Yeah,
Swayman. Um, and Gross putting out this statement is like only going to benefit him, saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm telling the truth. Like we haven't had this offer yet."
right.
Um, so I think part of what Neely was trying to do, other than just being like, "I want to get this done," was he maybe was thinking about the Nylander situation. Like maybe Swayman doesn't even know. Like if Gross is holding information from Swayman, he's like, "I just want to put it out there. Like we're giving you 8 by 8."
Yeah,
Um,
which yeah,
yeah,
that
that was a
those public figures generally like don't come out during these types of
right. Yeah, this is.
negotiations.
I mean, there's so much drama. It's like all getting out public, and yeah, I don't know.
I had heard
Um,
apparently they had actually offered him in like an 8 by 8.7 or 7.8, I think it was, like a $62 million deal instead of 64, but I don't know where that's coming
yeah,
from.
I heard that too. Um, that's a lot of like the news, and then just I guess a couple of my other thoughts was like, does Swayman really want to try to like wring every last dollar out of us? Like I know that like the player friendly deals seem to be done in Boston, but like sometimes players are going to take these discounts if they want to win, and like having taking a slight discount so you can get some better players around you is like not super uncommon. Um, but like I don't know, at this point I feel like Boston wants Swayman more than Swayman wants to stay, which is a little scary because I know obviously Swayman's talked about the whole arbitration thing and how it sucked and like didn't want to go through that again. And now here he is having to deal with all this, and he's like, maybe he's just like, I'm done at this point. But also maybe he heard the 64 million and is like, what's going on here? Like, what's the deal with my agent? So they seem to like things have settled. Like, no, they're not really talking right now. We don't think. So maybe it's like Swayman trying to figure out if he wants to leave or what, or maybe figure out what the deal is with his agent.
Yeah, get a new
But
agent or
part of me is just like, at this point, if we just want to meet in the middle, like 8 by 8.7, it's like, what's an extra 700K a year in the grand scheme of things? But maybe that's something I would regret, like in a year or two. It all depends on how Swayman plays, right? Like,
yeah. And that's
But
the
the
that's the
cap's
big
going
thing.
up. Is 8 by 8.7 gonna look terrible in 4 years? Who knows? But I think losing him would hurt more than overpaying him because like
At least
I
right
know we have
now.
I know we have Bussy. Maybe we don't know what he is yet, but like we don't have any true goalie in the pipeline. It's hard to trade for like a top level goalie. So like an overpayment to keep him, I think would be worth it at this point. So this my opinion would probably change if you ask me tomorrow, but I think right now I'd say just give him like 8 by 8.7 or whatever we can to meet in the middle between our current asking prices and just get it done. And hopefully, I mean, at this point it's gone so far, but like hopefully you can say like if you're gonna be here 8 years, like no hard feelings. I know this was a whole thing, but like can we like put that aside and just play hockey? I would hope that both sides would just be happy with that and we can move on.
Yeah. No, that would be good. And I know, another aspect of it is people are thinking that he's being greedy and like not not asking for what he's actually worth, and like he shouldn't be expected
Hmm.
to be making that much considering like how many games he's played. I think it's like 140 games. I don't know if that includes playoff starts or not, but he had an unreal playoff performance this past season. In the two rounds that they played. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess part of it is like shifting the market a little bit. And I saw some comparables about other players and like what the percentage of the cap they got like when they signed a deal. This is like other goalies, and it was like he was asking like 8 point something percent, which was compared to like Vasilevsky and Price and Saros and a couple other guys. So it's like, do we see him on that same echelon? I think Luongo too. Um,
Hmm.
and that's something where it's like, does he believe in himself? Does the team believe that he has that potential? I think we've seen flashes of it where it's like this guy can't let anything by him, but
Right.
never been the de facto number one guy, which might be deterring the Bruins a little bit.
Yeah, I'm also trying to think like because obviously at this point, if he is going to get traded, and all the teams know what he wants, like it's pretty public, like we talked about. So it's like if he walked and got paid 8 by 9 somewhere, like would I be sad or be like, oh, I'm glad we didn't pay him that? Like I don't know where like my there's a lot of confusion going on right now, like in my feelings for this. It's like, yeah, 8 by 9 is a ton, but like if in 3 years from now, if we've been just having an 870 goalie or whatever, I'd be like, I would have paid him 9, sure, to
Yeah,
keep
it's
making
like,
the playoffs. Like,
give me Swayman back, please.
yeah, I mean, you're trying to predict the future too as part of it. So it's, again, like we don't know what his play will be like. Like he played great in the playoffs, but he also had 2 months that he kind of slumped during the regular season. But when you had Olmark there, it didn't matter because Olmark was lighting it up then. So like if we do sign Swayman, then especially after all this contract talk, like the microscope's going to be on him. So any little like falter or whatever is going to be big news because our backup is probably going to not be great.
Yeah, no doubt. And you got to think about what teams even can sign him to what he wants right now. It's pretty much Utah and the other bottom feeders: San Jose, Calgary, Anaheim, and Columbus.
And I would
Um,
hope that Swayman would rather play for the Bruins than a team like that.
I would
But
think so too. I mean,
no,
that's
maybe he wants to go to Ottawa with Olmark.
that would be crazy.
It'd be so sad.
They'd have to trade a couple of guys back. They are actually slightly over the cap right now, so that would be very tough to accommodate. Maybe you'd get like Shabbat or something. I don't know. I guess while we're just briefly on the topic, I did see that the Blue Jackets were told by the NHL that they won't be expected to meet the ceiling or the floor for
Okay.
the salary cap. They won't be penalized for that, and with the expectation that they will get there in a reasonable manner or soon or something like that. It was pretty vague, but
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's the right call by the league, and it I don't think the Blue Jackets are going to be benefiting from that very much. They probably will be able to sign some veteran forward as well, just to get there. But yeah, I think that's good news. And apparently, the early projections from Batman for next year's cap are at 92.5 million. But again, that's early, and I wouldn't be surprised if that number changed. As we get closer to the end of the year. But that's what they're saying right now, which would be another $5 million jump.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We got time for that though.
So I guess to round off our Bruins talk, we can do what we've been doing, where we go through the lineup.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking at this, it looks like they have it a lot more solidified than last time we glanced at this. So we got Zaka, Lindholm, and Pasta as your first line. Marchand, Coyle, and Geeky as your second. Frederick, Patra, and Brazeau on the third. Beecher, Kaslik, and Kopke. I still don't know how to say that guy's name. But I feel like the fourth line could be like, you could get Patrick Brown in there, Vinny Lettieri maybe. So like you could have a couple people shuffle around.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know if Marchand's expected to play opening night. I think he was, but I don't know.
I think I saw that he was like, yeah, the expected return was probably like second game or something like that. Maybe even the first game.
Oh, actually, I guess he's been playing in the preseason again. Like I've been away the last week, so I haven't seen.
He's been very busy.
I've been very busy, and I will continue to be busy.
Yeah, we're lucky we were able to get him for tonight.
I'm a busy man. But yeah, apparently he left early the last preseason game, but that was due to illness, not injury. So I think he'll be good to go.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
So that's the forward group. I guess the way we've been doing this before is, how do you feel about the forward depth?
I don't love it.
To me, it's just because I know all the names. I'm like, oh, our depth is great. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty familiar with most of these guys as well. I think getting Patra back will be great because he had that early season injury last year. So hopefully he gets back to form and improves on the start that he had the last year. I think the first line is pretty solid. We'll see how Lindholm does as the 1C.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still have Coyle as the number 2C, and maybe you move Geeky around a little bit. But
remember that Zaka can play center too. It was Zaka Coyle last year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, we still don't have a true 1C. Like Lindholm is not a 1C, but adding him obviously helps because you can slide everyone down.
Yeah, it does. It does help. He is going to be there long term though, so it's like if you're paying him 1C money, which we'll see if 7.75 for 8 years is the future for 1C money or not. Like if they're going to be able to afford to eventually push him to the 2C, but I don't know, we're looking ahead a little bit. I think for right now it's fine. But I don't see this and go, okay, yeah, this is like a really solid, like this is one of the better Bruins forward cores we've seen over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Like I don't think I'm there.
Right. Well, the Bruins have always been a team to build from like the net out. So the forward group is probably the worst. Well, I'm going to say, probably the worst, assuming we get Swayman at some point. Definitely the worst.
Yeah.
Because like if you look at it, like again, the first line, like we said, is pretty good. Again, like Marchand could still be a first line guy.
Sure.
So like moving him around too. Geeky, I'm like, he's probably a third liner. Frederick can be a good third liner, but he can also be a fourth liner. Like it depends on how he's playing and things like that. Patra, I think, can make a good third liner, maybe even get up to second line. We don't know his potential yet.
Yeah.
Brazeau, I'm like, probably a fourth liner. He has his moments too. And then the fourth line is the fourth line.
Not moving the needle a whole ton.
Yeah, I mean Beecher is like I don't know. He's got like a motor, and like I don't know. He's like a good like fourth line grinding type. Um, but then I feel like the defense obviously a lot stronger. You have Hampus Lindholm and Charlie McAvoy, Zadorov, who we just got, and Peak, and then Lorai and Carlo. And these lines are gonna, or pairings are gonna shift around like all season, all game. Like it's gonna be like situation dependent. If we want like a lockdown defensive pair, if we're up by a few goals late in the game, things like that. Like I don't expect like Carlo they have on the third line, but he's gonna be playing at least 20 minutes a night. So like because Lorai is a more offensive guy, Carlos obviously defensive. So your pairings are going to move a lot. I'm sure they'll see like yeah, Carlo with Lindholm and whatever else. But how do you feel about the defensive depth?
You've got some big guys, I'll say. These are guys are
Yeah,
all pretty big.
we drafted a lot of big guys too. Like our off season and like pipeline is just large guys.
It's kind of just like the trend right now. I noticed that with a lot of
Yeah,
teams in the
McAvoy's
draft.
the smallest defender at 6'1", 210, and he can throw. Obviously, he can throw the body.
Yeah, that. But I do think the defense is pretty solid. Peak, I'm not in love with. I remember not being like in love with him
Yeah,
last year, but like that's not gonna be the end all be all for this core. I think. Um,
right. And
so
Norad's
this
still
is
gonna
pretty
make
good.
mistakes too because he's young. But yeah, Peak I'm the one. I'm like, yeah, he's serviceable.
None of these guys are like only Lindholm is cracking 30. Zadorov's basically 30. He will turn 30 during the season, but
Yeah.
everyone else is in their mid to young 20s. So I think it's a
hmm
pretty good group. I do like it more than the forwards.
And
And
then
then
goalies,
we get down here.
Corpusalo and Brandon Bussey. How do you feel about those two?
I'm nervous about those two.
Me
Or
too.
and again we mentioned Patera as well, and Michael DiPietro if you want to throw him in. But yeah, Corpusalo. It's been a long time since he's been had a halfway decent season. Um, I haven't really heard much from the media from him, like how he's feeling about going into the season.
No one cares
Um,
about him right now. They're all focusing on
I
Swayman.
guess not. They're like, who? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're still here. And then Bossy is just unproven. He's never played in the NHL. Um, and um, he didn't look great, I guess, in preseason so far. Um, so yeah, it's just anytime you have a really unproven net. I mean, Corpusalo's at least played for a while, but he hasn't played very well in the league,
We
so
got Coach Bob, who's
it's
the goalie
nervous.
whisperer.
That is a benefit. I will admit that is a benefit, having a really strong goalie coach. Which I think Vegas has a great goalie coach too, which is why I'm not super worried about Samsonov. I'm a little bit, but yeah, I do think having a great coach can elevate players that aren't necessarily super solid, at least as seen by fans.
Right. Um, so I guess as far as playoff projections, both of our brackets are assuming Swayman, I would imagine.
Yeah. I as I was making, I was like starting to think about like, well, maybe I should drop them down a little bit more just because they
Just in
might
case.
not have him. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have him losing in the second round again. Um,
Uh,
and
I had them losing in the first round to the Hurricanes.
yeah, you have him as a wild card too, which yeah,
I think yeah, it'll come down to can the defense be good enough to bail out under par goaltending, and can the forwards score enough to get them into like shootout type of games.
yeah. I mean, the scoring is going to be the biggest issue. But I mean, when we got Jim Montgomery initially, that helped a lot with the scoring because he was more about like having the defender step up and like take risks and things like that. Like Pasta ended up with like a ton of turnovers, but it was, I mean, like risk reward kind of thing. He had like the most in the league, but it was like, hey, try to make chances, like try to generate like odd man rushes, that sort of thing. So I mean, that'll definitely help promote offense. But yeah, like you said, can we score enough goals? and also our power play sucked last year. Like, can we improve on that?
Right. So yeah,
But obviously, I still have faith.
yeah, I had toyed with them dropping out. I've had them in a couple seasons previous, had them dropping out of the playoffs before, but they haven't done that yet. So I'm like, you know what? The dam hasn't broken yet, so I'm just gonna keep riding with them, even though it might not seem like they have a really solid team, but it's also like they're the Bruins and they always kind of just find a way.
Kind of like the Tampa thing, where it's like, all right, this is their year. Like, they take a step back, and it's like, can't bet against Tampa. They always seem to find a way.
Yeah, they have lost in the first round the last 2 seasons, but they've still been in the playoffs. And
Mm-hmm.
like there wasn't really a point towards the final stretch of the regular season where I thought that they were going to drop out. Like they consistently had just enough of a lead on the other wild card teams where I was like, yeah, nobody's catching them. So
Yeah.
they don't have Stamkos again this year, but I don't know. It's like, yeah, you can't really know for sure until it actually happens. And even then, they could just like come right back the next season.
Sure.
Could happen with the Bruins too, but we both have them in. We both don't have them going super far. I think one team had them going to the conference finals. I think that was
Zach has
Zach.
them going.
I think he was the only one.
I think so.
Even your dad didn't have them. So I don't know if any teams had them completely missing the playoffs. I don't think so, actually. I think everybody has them in. Yep. Looks like it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no,
I mean,
Zane doesn't have them in. He's the only one who doesn't have the
okay.
Bruins. So, but he's got the Islanders making it to the conference finals. So,
What does he know?
yeah. Even though Bree doesn't have that too.
Yeah.
Oh no, she doesn't. Anyways, a lot of
Anyways.
qualifiers here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we're working with. We haven't covered all of the teams, but we kind of just try to get the ones that we thought were the most interesting, ones relevant to us and the guests that we've had on, and we have our brackets now. So that's basically like how we're feeling.
Yeah.
Not all these teams need a huge spotlight on what's going on. So I unless you have anything else, I think we can call it a close.
That's all I got. Enjoy the start of the season.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Things have been very chippy and heated in preseason, so we'll see how that carries over. We'll see how the global series goes to start the season, and then in November that'll be continuing with the Stars and the Panthers going over there. So yeah, looking forward to actually covering and talking about these games
Yeah.
very, very soon.
Oh yeah, hockey's back.
Yes. Let's go. I love it.
Oh yeah. All right. See you all next time.
Thanks, guys. Subscribe if you haven't done so.
Answer our hat trick question.
Right. If we do it. I think we will.
Yeah.
Bye.
But if I forget anything, I'm sure you can hop in and also with it, whatever your opinion is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I shared those here. That's good to know.
When it comes to the Bruins, you don't.
Oh, sorry.